Okay, we are live. Good evening, Mr. Shola Adekunle, and good evening to everyone who will be paying attention and, of course, gleaning from the wisdom of this podcast and today's session. Mr. Shola, I am very, very excited to have you here tonight on the very first episode of one of the products of Samuel Abraham Global Leadership Consultancy, and we're talking about no other product but money leadership itself. A podcast that is designed to create a blueprint of how people can effectively lead in a three-pronged approach. How they can lead when they do not have money, how they can lead when they have the money, and how they can lead when they do not need the money. And due to the this the nature of this very podcast, we are going to be spending our time today discussing, leadership lessons for the week while working, of course, using our schedule to determine how we go from the start to the finish. And once again, thank you very much, Mr. Shola Adekunle, for agreeing to do this with us tonight, and I am very, very grateful. Looking forward to, of course, a sweet time with you tonight. Good evening once again, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being on the platform. Thanks for inviting me.
Amazing, amazing. So, of course, for those who are paying attention, this is the flyer for tonight's session, and you can see that the Morning Leadership Podcast happens every Wednesday by 9 p.m. GMT +1. That's Nigerian time. I believe some other nations share in that. So then, of course, this is the first episode, and it is a pleasure to have Mr. Shola Adekunle grace this very first episode of Morning Leadership. Before I go ahead to talk about the speaker, this is our schedule for tonight. Shit, shout, and shout out. But before I do that, why not read about the speaker's bio? So, Mr. Shola Adekunle is a transformational leader, coach, and speaker. He's the founder and president of SAFoundation. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. An impact-driven and people-oriented non-profit organization. Mr. Shola Adekunle is also a graduate of mathematics from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso. So, Mr. Shola is the author of the following books: Financial Nuggets, 3 Simple Steps to Discover Your Life's Dream, and his latest 7 Pillars of Personal Development. Amazing. 3 solid books, all of which are available in digital format. He is also the creator of the video course on time management strategies. In September 2022, sorry, I think I experienced light out there. So in September 2022, Mr. Shola became an alumni of the prestigious African Center for Leadership and Strategy Development, Abuja. And after that, he completed a 1-year leadership program. Okay, he completed a 1 leadership program in that very institution. That's Center LSD, African Center for Leadership and Strategy Development. Shola, who has been professionally trained by Jobberman as a soft skill trainer, was recently awarded the Social Impact Professional of the Year 2022 at Win Africa Achievers Award. He has spoken in several conferences, seminars, and corporate events on issues related to youth, mindset development, and financial management. Shola Adekunle is the convener of Rise Conference Africa, a platform designed to transform and mentally empower young people across Africa. He is passionate about personal development, leadership, and finance. He's a man of deep insights, a lover of God, and an amazing keyboardist. That is very, very good to hear. His catchphrase reads, I shift mindsets and help you lead. I will say that again. His catchphrase reads, I shift mindsets and help you lead. Of course, you can connect to Mr. Shola on Facebook and LinkedIn by searching for the name Shola Adekunle, and on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at I am Shola Adekunle. Once again, Mr. Shola, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us tonight. You're welcome. I'm
Wow, it's
grateful
a
to have you
pleasure.
here, and thank you so much. So I'm giving shout out to, of course, staff and management at Samuel Brand Global Leadership Consultancy for making this happen. We have actually had this in mind for so long, like this particular podcast, starting it up, and we really worked so hard to ensure we got here, and definitely getting you on board too is a big win for us. We are very, very excited for that. And of course, shout out to Z Nature Organics. Yep, they're organizing their Black Soap Festival. Z Nature Organic is an organic soap making industry, basically based in Nigeria. Of course, they have interest in, of course, natural airs too. But at the moment, they're organizing their Black Soap Festival, and I'm giving them a shout out, wishing them success in their forthcoming event. I think basically that'll be off. My shout out to family, my friends, and everybody that have been supporting the SAGLC brand. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Shola, I don't know if you have people to go shout out to.
All right, so my shout outs to everyone who is listening to us. Thank you so much for joining us. I will believe this session will be an amazing one too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are hearing this, a shout out to you.
Thank you so much for that. That was a quick one. Of course, announcements for this very podcast. So, for everyone paying attention, this podcast is basically an education-based podcast. Okay, so whatever you learn or take away from this podcast, you should ensure you do your own research, right? So, whatever you gain, if you put to practice what you learned from here, if you gain it, it is for your own good. If by any chance it turns out to be a sour result, please, we are not able to be held responsible for that. Like I said before, this is an education-based podcast, and ensure you do your own research before running with any and everything you hear from here. Okay, so I've talked about the podcast initially. I would like to say that again. So, Money Leadership is a product of the Samuel Brown Leadership Global Leadership Consultancy brand, and is focused on showing people a three-pronged approach to leadership. How to lead effectively when you don't have money, how to lead effectively when you do have money, and how to lead effectively when you do not need money. Meanwhile, we be dissecting leadership lessons for every week, and that is why we have a guest for this particular episode. So I think we just kickstart immediately. So, Mr. Shola, I think you have access to this schedule, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so the floor is yours now.
I should go on.
Yes, of course, the floor is all yours.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, so thank you so much. Let me start by appreciating the leadership of Samuel Abraham GLC. It's a great pleasure to be here. Uh, I want
Thank you.
to celebrate every member of the team. It's a great job you people are doing here, and it's highly commendable. In a world where only very few are passionate about other people, everyone is self-centered. Everyone is trying to run their own race. So it doesn't matter what happens to other people. But you have decided to think differently and have the interest of other people at heart. Because I believe if you are not interested in other people, if you are not genuinely interested in people, you can't be doing something like this. So a big thank you to you and the members of your team for putting this together and for blessing lives, for doing this at your own cost. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for what you are doing
Thank you
for
so much.
Nigeria and for the continent of Africa as a whole. Sincerely, I'm really proud to be a part of this, and my
Thank you so
sincere
much.
desire, my sincere prayer is that this will go even much more bigger and global by the grace of God.
Amen.
So
Amen.
thank you
Thank you so
so much.
much.
Thank you so much. All right. All right. So I'll be speaking on a number of things. I don't know. Do we have a time frame or so?
Okay, basically, it runs for an hour, but if you have, of
Okay.
course,
Okay.
if you
Okay.
have
Okay. There's no
content
problem.
for more than that, we don't mind.
And there's no problem. There's no problem. I love to keep to time actually. So, but I'll see how I can run my old discussions around that. All right. So, leadership lessons
Okay.
for the week. Wow. I was thinking of what to really share and what to say, and there's so much about leadership. Uh, Leadership is a very broad subject, and for everyone listening, I'm very sure that this will not be the first time you are hearing the word leadership. Leadership. It's one of the most Google searched subjects, and it's one of those subjects that has more books written on it. However, the challenge is how come we have so much being said on leadership, we have so much being talked about on leadership, we have so much being written on leadership, and yet our world is still what it is today. Because I want to believe that you will all agree with me that if you are to count the top 10, the top three challenges that we have in our world today, leadership is one of them. Leadership is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
how come so many people are talking about this rate of leadership and yet we are still having issues on leadership? Now, let's take our dear Africa as a practical example. Africa is blessed with so many resources. We all know that we don't have natural disasters compared to other continents of the world. We are blessed with so many mineral resources. We have human resource. I mean, you see people who thrive even in the harshest conditions. Like people were not even supposed to become anything, and yet they
And then,
still give in so much. And so we have the human resource. People are really doing stuffs sincerely. Forget what the media is
yeah.
telling us about Africa. I want to
Mm-hmm.
believe we all know this. Africans are really doing so much. Like we are really doing so much. But how come? How come it looks as if we are still behind in our dealings? How come Africa is what it is today? Are we still hearing me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm with you, sir.
All right. So how come our dear Africa is what it is today? And the challenge is still centers on the subject of leadership. Why? Because we have leaders who are not visionary. We have leaders who are not seeing what an average African is seeing. And it's our challenge. And so leadership becomes a matter of urgency. It becomes a matter of urgency. Now, so what is that leadership lesson that I have for us this week? Is let's go back to the basics of leadership. Let's go back to the basics of leadership. I've discovered that, in a sport, any maybe let's say football team or basketball team, for example, I've realized that when a team is having an issue, what great coaches do is to go back to the basics.
Mm-hmm.
It is not when a team is having an issue, when a team is struggling, that's not when you teach them more sophisticated practice or more sophisticated uh formation or all of that. No, because they are falling apart already. So what they need at this level is no longer sophistication, is the basics. It's the
Mm-hmm.
basic. I studied mathematics in the university, and I've come to realize that if you are strong on the basics of mathematics, it will be easier
Mm-hmm.
to tackle more complex problems. So don't mind me if I'm sounding mathematical. So if someone is still struggling with how to divide, how to plus, and how to minus, then how do you now want to undo quadratic equations, undo simultaneous equations? It's more complex that way. So
It's very
we start with the
possible.
basics. So it's just like that. We start with the basics. We start
Yeah.
with the basics. So now, that is what we need right now in Africa. That's what we need right now in the world. Learning the basics of leadership. And what is the basic of leadership? This will be the major core of my lesson for us this week. And what is that basic for leadership? The basic of leadership. There are many levels of leadership. I've heard so many things leadership, there's sophisticated leadership, intellectual leadership, organizational leadership, strategy, all kinds of various aspects of leadership. But there is one basic, and that is personal leadership.
Mm-hmm.
personal leadership. Because until you are able to lead yourself well, you can't lead anything else effectively. And it is an area where we are struggling with. We have leaders in Africa who has no personal leadership, but they have political leadership. Someone who has not built anything in his own life by himself,
Mm-hmm.
who now wants to build a nation. That's a failure.
It's
That's a
very
failure.
no track record.
Many
You just want to.
no track record, sir. No track record. Many of our leaders, political leaders, organizational leaders, many of these people have not done anything. Most of them are there either by privilege, either by connection, or by any means. Not necessarily that they've built anything before in their own personal lives. And that's where we are missing it. We have zero knowledge on personal leadership, but everybody wants to be a positional leader.
Mm-hmm.
We see where the problem is now. Everybody
Yes.
wants to attain positions. Everybody wants to be this, wants to be that, wants to be head of this one, he wants to be chair of this one, he wants to be this. But how are you leading your own self? Like outside the position, your life as a person, how are you leading yourself? Because until you get that right, you can't get any other thing right.
That is very true.
So my major lesson for us, my major leadership lesson for us this week is personal leadership. We need to go back to that. And what is personal leadership in itself? Greg Thomas said, personal leadership is the desire of an individual of his or her own life. I'll say that again. He said, personal leadership is the desire of an individual to take charge of his or her own life. Ability for your own self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if we'll be very sincere with ourselves, then we will know that when it comes to taking full responsibility of our own lives, only very few people are doing this rightly.
That is very true.
Because it is very easy to blame others than to blame yourself. As a matter of fact, we see what everybody else is doing wrong except our own self.
Mm-hmm.
So, why is this thing like this? No, is this person that is supposed to do it? That's the first thing we say. Is this person that's supposed to do it? No, it's not my own thing. No, it's for this. No. We are not taking responsibility. And that is why a chairman of a local government will see a particular ward or a particular environment, particular government, or even government office deteriorating. And yet, nobody. So everybody is moving away from this and that, and everybody is trying to take their own different side. Personal leadership. How well are we doing in our own life as a person? Because if you are able to lead yourself well, if you are able to get this concept of personal leadership sincerely, you are up already as a leader. You are up already as a leader. And if you now discover, you see, the few people who are making impact in their words are people who have decided to take responsibility for their own lives.
Exactly.
Do you know that what Samuel Abraham GLC is doing now is a result of personal leadership? You are not waiting for the government to do this. You are not waiting for anybody to do this to push you to do this. You are taking responsibility. And of which, even if you did not take this responsibility, nobody will jail you for it.
That is very true.
Nobody will accuse you for not doing money leadership. But you are doing it. Why? Because you have that sense of responsibility as a person. Now imagine every single African, every single Nigerian, every single one of us across the globe has that sense of personal responsibility to duties. Imagine what a beautiful world we will have. Imagine so little crisis we will have to deal with.
That is very, very true.
Everybody is taking responsibility in their homes first. The policemen are taking responsibility. The army, the navies, all of them are taking responsibilities. Those doing government work are taking responsibilities. Social workers, everybody, corporate organizations, private organizations, institutions, lecturers, every one of us taking our own personal responsibilities. We are not waiting for anybody to push us to do the right thing. We just do them
Mm.
because we are responsible as a person, because we felt like I lead myself.
Yes.
Imagine what a beautiful world we'll have. So, and that is why we have so many subjects on leadership, and yet leadership still seems to be our major problem, despite the fact that there is so many books on it, there are so many searches, Google searches on it, yet we still have problem on leadership. Why? That shows that there's a big gap on the basics of leadership. So let's move away from this organizational thing. It's fine, it's great. But let's move away from it if we have not dealt with the personal leadership. Because once you're able to lead yourself sincerely, I don't care where they put you, you are going to do well.
Mm.
You are going to do
100%.
well because you take it like the way you lead your life. Imagine someone
Mm.
who can't even wake up early, or who can't even take certain things up on its own. Are you not telling me that if you give that kind of person position, it will not feel like, see, don't kill me, oh, is anything I feel do, that's what I do. I don't feel kill myself.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the thing.
No, no, exactly.
That's the
Very, very
thing.
right. It will just
That's the thing.
show a lack of concern, like it doesn't matter
Exactly.
after all, somebody else is doing
Yes. We'll be lackadaisical about it. You
it.
won't care. I don't care attitude. If it's spoil, make it spoil now. After all, no be my
Yes.
papa something. Responsibility. So my encouragement and my challenge for everyone listening to this podcast is that let's take personal leadership, self leadership. Let's take it so seriously. All these things begins with your mindset too, as a person. It begins with your
Yes.
mindset. Yes, sir. Do you know that I've discovered that most times when people have a wrong mindset about their
Yes.
own personal life, they find it difficult
Mm-hmm.
even to lead themselves. They
Exactly.
find it difficult even to lead themselves. Because some people don't even give themselves the permission to take charge of their own life. They believe that they have to be a victim of everything that happens.
Yes.
No,
Always being
no,
really victim.
yes. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Take responsibility. Take responsibility. As a matter of fact, let me drop this. The greatest gift you can give to our world is personal leadership.
In quotes.
That's the greatest gift. Don't give us just businesses. Don't give us just organizations. Don't give us just anything. Lead yourself well. Because if you can give us personal leadership, you have given us one of the most valuable things. And do you know why? Because personal leadership is the only thing you can't really build except you decide to build it yourself. I
And
can't,
you cannot
there's
even
no
be
how I,
trusted it.
sir, I can't take responsibility for you until you decide to do that on your own.
Exactly.
Until you decide to do that on your own. So that will be my major lesson for us tonight. I don't want to run too much. I don't want to run ahead of time. But personal leadership,
Thank you.
personal leadership, personal leadership. Let's read more about it, do more research about it, learn more about it, how to lead yourself well. And let me just give us some few key things that could help you in your journey of personal leadership. Number one is have a mindset development. Have a mindset development. See yourself beyond who you are right now. See yourself beyond where you are right now. Imagine yourself bigger than your present. These are things that gives you the energy, that gives you the permission to take charge of your own life. Because when you have hope for what is ahead of you, then you can rise and do what is necessary. But when the future is blurry, when you don't have vision of what is to come, then you don't feel any necessity to take responsibility for anything. Why? Because after all, you are not chasing anything. After all, you have no vision for anything. So why should I take responsibility? Why should I take my life serious? Why should I lead myself when I even do not have any goal? I have no vision for life. I have nothing. So we've got to reorientate ourselves, have a mind shift. What's your picture for the future? These are things that energizes you to rise up, to do things that are necessary for you to do, even when no one is watching, even when no one is seeing you, even when there is no reward for it. But to do the right thing. Why? Because you have a picture in your mind. You have a vision of what is ahead of you. You want to leave this world better than you met it. And then you know that change begins with you. Start with me. Start with you as a person. Start with you as a person. And when you're able to give us that, then anything that comes out of you will definitely be great.
Exactly.
Why? Because it's coming from a refined mind, from a refined human being, from a refined person. So what comes out of you comes refined organization. Have you seen people who take their life so seriously? When they build something, they don't build trash.
They build to last. Generational
No.
something.
Yes. Yes, because it's coming from a place of value. It's coming from a place of value. It's not just let's just do something. Let's just do something. Let's try to know that so that they will not say we did not do anything. Let's try to put something there for them. No. It's beyond that. It's beyond
It
that.
ends up immediately.
Yes. Yes. Because you have a legacy. You want something will be said about you, definitely. But you are mindful of what is that thing that will not be said about me. So because of the legacy, because of the footprints that you want to leave behind, you are conscious of the steps that you take. This is what we need in our dear country. This is what we need in Africa. This is what we need in our own personal lives. And let me shock us, even for the religious ones, I've realized that God cannot even help you beyond your level of investment in yourself. There's a portion of the Bible, Hosea 4:6, that says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." Now, and I love the fact that he said, "My people."
Yes. You didn't say
The
their
my
people.
people shows that even though they are my sons and daughters, they still perish.
Remember.
Because of lack of knowledge. Because of lack of sense of responsibility. Yes, they are my people. But the fact that they are my people does not take the responsibility of seeking knowledge away. It doesn't. So, even if you are trusting God to help you on something, God will help you for that help to last. Favor can come from God, but it takes capacity to retain favor.
Yes.
I can bless you with 1 million. That does not make you rich, because if you don't have capacity for that 1 million, I give you less than a month, you are back to square one. Why? Because you have no capacity to sustain the favor that you have received. That's it. God can put you in positions. God can place people. We have all kinds of funny prayers in Africa. The Lord, oh yeah, do this one, do this. And sometimes God in his mercy can even do some of those things for us. But when God puts you in a position that you don't have the personal leadership, you don't have the personal discipline to handle, you still fall back. They will sack you someday.
Of course.
Because because your incompetence will push you out of favor. So responsibility, you have to take charge of that. You have to take it. You've got to be, there's this gentleman in the Bible, Joseph. And the Bible will always talk about Joseph. Even when he was in Potiphar's house, he was taking responsibility up to the point that the guy said, you know what, young man, you have excellent personal leadership. You are self-driven. So be in charge of my house. Only my wife. You don't have to be in charge of that one. She's my woman. But every other thing, be in charge. What qualified Joseph for that responsibility was personal leadership. He had a strong sense of responsibility that everything in Potiphar's house began to multiply. And it felt like, really, this guy is handling my businesses, he's handling my itinerary, he's handling everything. Things are working. You know what? Just be in charge. And that led to the envy and all of that. We all know the story. But you know the funniest thing? The funniest thing was that even when he now got into prison,
Exactly. Valley never hides itself.
yeah, I'm back. So,
Okay.
even when he got to the prison, the same personal leadership, the same sense of responsibility still followed him.
Exactly.
Now, do you not see something now? Even when he was in riches, he had that self-discipline and he had that personal leadership. Then when he moved into poverty in prison, he did not leave the personal leadership behind. It was still with him. You know why? Because personal leadership is inbuilt. It's inbuilt. It's a capacity he developed. So whether you put him in Potiphar's house or in prison, he does not take his responsibility away. I don't know if you are feeling this the way I'm feeling it.
Of course, the rema is flowing.
Because I'm even staying outside of my notes now. Now, it even followed him to the prison. And if Africa can get this, sincerely, it will fix us. If Nigeria can get this, if everyone can take this responsibility, it's not the money. Forget the money. It's not about the money. Whether you give me money or you don't give me money, whether I'm in a place where I have everything under my control in Potiphar's house, or you throw me into prison, I'm still responsible.
Sorry for cutting short. I think this particular example or case scenario rather rightly dissects the podcast name Money Leadership, because using Joseph as a reference point here, you can see the pattern of leadership when he was in the wet, when he was not in the wet, and when he didn't even lead it.
God bless you, sir.
This is
exactly.
Thank you so much.
Exactly. So even in the prison, the head of the prisoners spotted it and said, no, this guy is different. He's self-disciplined. He's self-inspired. He has this sense of responsibility. You know what, guy? Just be in charge of all the prisoners. Be in charge of all the prisoners for me. Hey, all of you, listen. If you have any challenge, just meet this guy, Joseph. So I discovered that. Do you know that when you have personal leadership, when you are self-disciplined, automatically it pushes you forward into positions. So that means that I don't always have to fight for position.
Yes.
If I can get my personal leadership right, I can get every other aspect of leadership right. I can get it right. Personal leadership. Let me just round it up there, so that I don't use all the time to talk on personal leadership. But I tell you, personal leadership is really deep. It's really, really deep. Once we get it, it fixes every other areas of leadership. So let me round it up there. So personal leadership is the desire of an individual to take charge of his or her own life. Let every one of us listening to this podcast understand this. Let's get it. Let's put this into practice. Let's put this into action. From this podcast, thank God this is the first episode. Make up your mind that, you know what, I'm going to take responsibility for my life. Enough of this blame mindset. Enough of this entitlement mindset. Enough of this, because my
mm,
brother did not do this for me, that's why I'm like this. Because my this did not do this
mm,
for me, that's why I'm like this. Because this one, no, no, no. Enough of all that. I am taking responsibility for my life. It does not even matter whether
mm.
anybody do anything or not. After all, Joseph knew nobody in Egypt, and he took responsibility
No,
for his life. Then he became who he became.
exactly.
I'm taking responsibility
Mm,
for my life. I'm going to be the leader of my own step. Enough of every other person dictating my life for me. Enough of people leading me in directions I don't want to go. Enough of me blaming the government, blaming individuals, blaming any other person for how my life turns out to be. From henceforth, I take charge, I take responsibility. I'm going to lead
mm,
myself.
mm.
That will be my
Powerful,
leadership lesson
powerful.
for us for this week.
Thank you so,
Thank you.
so much. That was powerful. Honestly, that was like you took us through a masterclass already. Powerful masterclass. Thank you so much. So, we're going to be progressing to the next item on the list, and that's going to be leadership related topics and, of course, trends and opinions. So there have been so many things going on in the world. Of course, every week something shows up. There are some that actually appears in the front of newspapers,
Yeah,
grab the attention of these media houses, while others do not in any way, make up. Others may not catch the attention of this media
yeah,
house that
yeah,
puts information in our faces. So I don't know from your end, you might have been
yeah,
observing some leadership related trends, some news, and
yeah,
of
yeah.
course, your opinions that form around those trends too. So, we're looking forward to you sharing them, yeah, immediately.
Okay, okay. There are so many things happening around the world actually. The world is fast paced. Like Peter Drucker said, we're in the era of the three C's, the era of
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming complexities, accelerating change, and tremendous competition. So
Interesting.
there's so much
Please, can you repeat
complexity
that?
in our world. Sir?
Please, can you repeat that again? The three C's.
All right, yes, we are the era of three C's. There's overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
complexity, accelerating
Mm-hmm.
change, and tremendous competition. That's the
Wow.
era where we are now. There's overwhelming complexity, there's accelerating change, and there's tremendous competition. So things are
Mm.
moving. A lot of leadership issues are springing up here and there, all of that. But there's one that caught my attention is about this crazy guy. When I mean crazy, I'm not saying he's mentally insane. I'm only saying that the guy is
Okay.
just out of this world. Elon Musk.
Mm.
And
Oh, Mr. Musk.
there, there is so much being talked about the guy. And one of the things
Yeah.
that caught my attention was just the fact that he buying Twitter and then he started laying off staffs.
Yeah. Immediately.
That's crazy. Like what? I was like, really? Really? And it caught the attention of almost everyone because he was doing it. I saw a start for workers, Twitter workers in India. Of recent, he laid up almost like 19 workers in Ghana out of 20 staffs. I
Mm.
think it was written only just one person on all of that. There's so much. And
That's like
report
99%
shows that
reduction.
Yes, a report shows that Twitter had about 7,000 employees, and his goal when he became the new CEO of Twitter now was to reduce the employees at Twitter to 3,500, 50%. And the funniest thing,
Wow.
as he was entering position, he was informing them all that there's going to be massive layoffs. And
There was no subtle procedures. It just went straight.
I tell you, and that's really it's really a trending thing because there is so much about that. We know Elon Musk to be a great leader. He
Mm-hmm.
runs so many businesses and he's one of the most innovative minds that we have in our world today. And
Yeah.
he taking that kind of decision begins to raise all kinds of questions. Why is he doing like this? What is he thinking or like that and all of that? However, our own responsibility on this is not to analyze why or what. After all, he owns his money, so
Mm.
he can decide to do
Yes.
anything he wants. So, but I
Yeah.
feel like what we need to do is just to pick our lessons from that. And what is the lesson from that? I'll just pick two things that will be very valuable for everyone who is listening to this podcast. on what lesson can you pick up from that. Number one is this: be an entrepreneur. Be an entrepreneur. There is so much change happening in our world today. You can't rely on a job. I am not saying that you shouldn't have a job. Don't get that wrong, please. Have a job is very important. As a matter of fact, jobs give you that kind of first discipline that you need in a corporate world, and it's not wrong if you have a job. However, the point is, don't get so stuck on your job that you feel like everything in your life revolves around that. There are people,
Yes.
once they lose their job like this, the next thing is to poison themselves, because even they know that after this job there's nothing else. That's a
Mm.
bad way to live. That's a bad way to live. You should have an entrepreneur mindset. You should have an entrepreneur mindset. What other thing is attached to your name? What other thing is attached to you? What other things do you do apart from this 9 to 5? It's very important. Now, do you know that probably there are some of those Twitter stars who felt like, well, we are earning in dollars. Of course,
Yes.
this is life, and they had no plans. None of them, maybe they don't
Mm.
even know that a crazy guy like Elon Musk is coming to buy the company.
Exactly. They might have considered his
I
intention to
tell
purchase
you,
the whole as
yeah.
a joke.
So they feel like, no, we die here. This is where we are. But now all of a sudden, this is happening to them. Some of them will now they are caught unaware, and
Of course.
some we have to go back to square one again. Why? Because some do not even have any plan for anything. So please and please, what Elon Musk is doing, the lesson you should pick from that is not to criticize Elon Musk or anything. Like I said, he owns his money, he can do anything he wants with it. So, but our own lesson is that be an entrepreneur. You can have a job, or please have a business, have a brand, have something else that makes you money. It's very, very important. That's the first thing. Then the second lesson I can pick from that is, if you feel like this entrepreneurial thing is not for you and all of that, the only second option I can give you is to make yourself extremely valuable. Extremely
Mm.
valuable. Make yourself a do without in an organization.
Mm.
Because the truth of the matter is this: no matter how much is laying off people, you can't lay off everybody.
Of course, there are some indispensable
There
staff.
are some, thank you, sir. There are some that he dare not lay them off, because nothing, not because of anything, but because of their extreme value to the company. There are people in organizations that once they go, the organization goes down.
Yeah.
So they are almost untouchable. When COVID-19 happened, a lot of people were losing their jobs.
Yes.
But there are some people that they dare not sack them, because if you sack them, that's the end of the company too.
Good.
That's the end of the company. You dare not touch them. So it's very important. You see, every organization has their top 1%.
Yes. Yes.
So your responsibility for everyone listening to us on this podcast is to make sure that in any organization where you belong to, work your way up to the top 1%. Because the top
Mm.
1% are the last set of people to be touched, no matter
Mm.
what happens in the organization. They are the last set of people. If you are laying everybody up, they are the last set of, you can't, like, maybe if you want to collapse the whole company, that's when they have to go. But so long the
Mm.
organization will remain, they remain untouchable. And how you do that is to make yourself extremely valuable in an organization. Can you now see where personal leadership is coming into play again? Because the
Yes.
only way you can make yourself that responsible are people who has a high sense of responsibility, who are personal leaders by themselves.
Mm.
So that's just the way it is. So be an entrepreneur. Have a side hustle, have a side brand business that you do, have something else that you do in addition to your daily job, to your 9 to 5 and all of that. So
Yes.
that if anything happens on your job, you have something to fall back to. And
Mm.
let me just encourage us with this: you can get fired from a job, but you can't get fired from your purpose. You can't get fired from your passion. You can't get
Mm.
fired from all of these things that are natural to you. So it's important that as you work on another person's job, begin to ask yourself some tough questions about who you really are. Like, even you yourself, what exactly can you do? I used to ask one funny
Yeah.
question, and the thing is this: I tell people that, what if there's nothing like schooling? What will you become?
Mm.
Because most people are tied to school. I studied chemistry. I studied chemical
Okay.
engineering, so I will work in this. I studied accountancy, so I will work in bank. I studied this. So what if there was no schooling? Where will you work? What will you be doing?
Self-employed.
So we've got to be able to answer that question. So what if there was no schooling in the first place? What if there was nothing like Western education? Is it that you won't become anything? Is it that you won't be anything? No, 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 no. So we've got to, because sometimes uh what we call career has to do with, okay, fine, this is what I studied in school and this is what I'm doing now and all of that and blah 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 and blah blah blah. So but the question is, what if there was no even school in the first place? Are you telling me you won't have a career? Are you
Yeah.
telling me you won't have something to work on? You won't have any? No, 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 no. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Because when God was creating us, He was not thinking about the bank.
Atop.
He was not thinking about where you will work. No, 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 no. He in He embedded something in every one of us. So we have something in us. And every of God's creation has their defense. Every of God's
Mm-hmm.
creation has their means of survival. To a lion is to roar. When a lion
Mm-hmm.
roars, roaring is the defense of a lion. When a lion roars, everything around it catches fear.
Yes. Yes.
To cheetah is the ability to run.
Mm.
To an eagle is the ability to soar.
Mm.
To an elephant is the bigness of it, the enormosity.
Mm.
So all of God's creation has their defense. And the funniest thing, God said that man should be in charge of all of these people. But I begin to ask myself, why will God say man should be in charge when man cannot run as fast as cheetah? Why will you say man should be
Mm.
in charge when man cannot roar like a lion and be as strong as a lion? How will you say man is in charge when man is not as big as an elephant? How will you say man is in charge when man cannot soar as high as an eagle? So how do you want him to be in charge? The answer to that simple question is that
Okay.
man's own means of defense is in between his skull, the brain.
Mm. Higher
So,
intelligence.
yes, higher intelligence. You have a mind. You have a mind. You have a brain. And you know that a lion cannot become anything else apart from a lion.
Yes.
A dog cannot become anything else apart from a dog.
And the best he can
A
become
goat
is a
cannot
meat
become
dog.
anything else apart from a goat. But a man has the ability to be anything he desires to
Any.
be.
Yeah.
A man can be a doctor, then he changed his mind. He said, I'm going into accountancy.
Mm.
Then he can be a lawyer. Then he can say, okay, in fact, I just want to be a chef. A lion cannot just wake up and say, you know what, I'm tired of this lion thing. I want to be something else. Can you see where can you see where the power is?
Yeah.
A lion will have to remain a lion till he dies. A man can be
Mm.
born poor and say, you know what, I'm going to be a wealthy person, and you be.
Yes.
So a man has limitless possibilities. We have endless possibilities.
Mm.
So amidst all of these things, there should be something that you should be able to do. That's my point.
Yes.
Because entrepreneurship is the ability to create something out of what is already inside of you.
Mm.
Entrepreneurship is not about looking for something that you don't have or looking for something that is outside of you. No, it's about looking inward and bringing
Yeah.
out beauty out of
Mm.
what is already inside of you, because there's beauty inside every one of us. So the ability
Yes.
to bring out that thing is what entrepreneurship is all about. So you've got to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be doing something that can that is original to you.
Mm.
Engage in business too. It does not stop you from your 9 to 5. I tell people it's not a must to be at the business. Somebody else can be running it. Why you go for your 9 to 5 on another man's job? Let somebody else also go for your 9 to 5 on your own job too.
Exactly.
So I don't have to be there. They have multiple businesses like that. Somebody is going there, and then the world is fine now. You monitor them on calls, making sure things are fine and all of that. And once you close from your own work, you go back to your shop or your business or all of that. So that when one crazy Elon Musk rise up one day and buys your company, you won't be stranded.
Of course.
So that's it. So it's either you have that or you make yourself extremely valuable. Make yourself extremely valuable. So uh I think that's one lesson we can pick from that as a trending news. So let,
Thank
let
you.
me stop there. Let me stop there.
Thank you so much. So I think the number six item is more of like should I say a mirror of the number five question that talking about
Yeah,
trending
yeah, yes,
leadership
yes,
related topic.
yes. It's the two
So we
together.
may just have to okay. So we'll go to the seventh item, which is talking about the best leadership
The best,
performance,
yeah,
individual and week, and of
the
course
four,
lessons from
yeah.
that
Okay, so
particular.
let me just let me take the 7, 8, and 9 at the same time. Let me take them together.
Okay, that's you taking
The
the
best, the poor, and then
leadership
yeah,
performance, and of
yes,
course
yes, yes, yes,
individuals
yes,
and brands that like to bounce back from these realities
exactly.
of theirs.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So let me just take that because I see that our time is far running already. All right. The best leadership performance and individuals for the week and lessons learned. Yes, this is quite tough actually in the sense that the truth is there are people that are doing amazingly well too across the world, across Africa, across Nigeria, and
Yeah.
but I love to pick something that everybody is aware of. I love to talk more on things that trends and things that you don't really have to rack your head around it. So I picked
Yeah.
this one flying around just recently. I think November 4 was Femi Otedola's birthday, and
Okay.
there's this news of how he celebrated his 60th birthday in this massive yacht.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
it was it was all over the internet uh
Hmm.
that he celebrated his 60th birthday on this largest and luxurious super yacht owned by Aristotle Onassis. I think the name of the yacht is Christiana Ho. Christiana Ho
Yes.
is one
Exactly.
of those yachts that the top people like Benjamin Franklin and all of these big individuals, great people in America and some other parts of the world, that's where they relax. So and I think he was even the first African with his family to
Wow.
use that yacht, and it was really a massive accomplishment. For
Mm.
a week in that yacht is $3 million
Wow.
for just one week, and he used the yacht for 3 weeks. And
Interesting.
the reason why I'm picking him as one of the best leadership performers for the week is the fact that, do you know that he had this dream of entering that yacht since he was 13 years?
Interesting. 13, and
13
now
years.
he's 60.
Yes.
That's
13
my
years as a
goodness.
teenager. He said that Aristotle Onassis has been a role model for him, and he has
Mm.
always desired that someday he will enter that yacht. It's just the same way we all have dreams of someday I will be in Paris. Someday I will be
Exactly.
in Dubai, all of that. And the same way he also had that vision that someday he will be in that yacht. And
Mm.
at age 13, at age 13. Now, what now stood out
Wow.
for me as the leadership part of it is three things that I want us to learn. Number one is that he was able to build himself, his business, his wealth up to a point
Mm.
where he was able to invest in himself. Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now. I think there was a
Okay,
reception.
so I was saying that one lesson, there are three lessons I want us to pick from that. And I was saying that the fact that he was able to discipline himself, to be able to build himself, build a business, and build his wealth, all to a point where he was able to afford such a luxurious life, it's highly commendable
Mm-hmm.
because it takes discipline to build.
Mm-hmm.
It takes discipline to build. And that's one thing we should learn as leaders. Leaders are disciplined individuals. Are disciplined individuals. Another thing is delayed gratification. I want to believe that the $3 million that he spent for just a week
Yes,
in that yacht is something I could have afforded even 2, 3, 5 years ago. I'm really serious about
that,
it. I'm so
that's
sure
very
of
true.
that. But he didn't do it 5 years ago. In fact, if you read the biography of Femi Otedola, you know that his father was a governor in Lagos State in
Yes.
1992. Is it 1992 to 1993 or so? I can't really remember the date as such. But his father was a former governor of Lagos State. So that means that he was born into wealth, and
Mm-hmm.
probably even when he was 50, 10 years ago, he could have still afforded it.
Yes.
But he didn't do it then because he felt like, no, this is not the right time. Because not as if I can't remove this money, but if I remove this money, it will affect what I'm building.
Yes.
So he delayed it, the gratification. Till now at 60, he felt like even if I remove $3 million, I won't feel it.
Yes. Yes. And that's what he did.
And that's what a leader does. A leader delays gratification. That's an act of leadership.
Mm.
Because a leader is futuristic. A leader is more concerned about tomorrow than
Yes.
the gratification of the present. So
Mm.
that's a leadership lesson. Leaders delayed gratification. Leaders put in the work at the moment. They do what is necessary. They do what is needed to be done at the moment so that they can enjoy the dividends of tomorrow.
Yes.
Delayed gratification. And then another thing is he proved to us that dreams are valid.
Yes.
For everyone
Dreams.
listening to this podcast, I don't know how big your dream is, but they are valid.
Mm-hmm.
A man at 13 years could have that kind of vision, that kind of dream, that someday I will be inside that yacht. And at 60, 13 from 60, that's 47 years later.
Over 4 decades. My goodness.
47 years later, the dream became a reality. And that's why it's so funny when someone has a dream and 10 years the dream has not materialized and then it's giving up.
Now they have a new person to inspire them.
Now you have something to hold on to. Someone had a dream for 47 years
Mm.
and he was patient enough till the dream became a reality.
Mm.
So if you are doing something and for 5 years it's not materializing and you are giving up, that means you're not serious. 5 years, that's too small. We are
Very
talking about 47 years. And that's really a great leadership lesson to learn. You see, leaders are
mm.
not moved by what is happening around them. They are moved by the vision that is inside of them.
Yeah.
What is driving a leader is not what surrounds him. What is driving a leader is what is inside of him.
Mm.
What is inside of him? What is inside of him? That's what drives a leader. And that's why vision becomes a thing of necessity for your own life. There should be a personal vision that drives you. There should be a personal vision that drives your life. So dreams are valid. Dreams are
Mm.
valid. And then the last one on that I will say is another leadership lesson I learned from that we can all learn from that is no matter how busy you are as a leader, no matter how occupied you are as an entrepreneur, as a business person, or as an organization, as a brand, or anything, always
Yes.
create time for yourself and for your family.
Mm.
Because one of the things he said was that he's so happy that he's able to do this with his family.
Mm.
It's something that he could have just entered that yacht by himself.
Yes.
And I think you know that coming in with the family could have also attracted some extra cash
Mm.
compared to if he was just the only one.
Yes.
Because you see, a leader needs people around him or her. You always need people. And you've got to create time for people that are even more close to you. I mean, families, friends, people that are more of, they are part of your journey. I mean,
Yes.
these are daughters and sons and wife who has been with him for those number of years that he was still building his businesses. So why should he leave them behind now when the whole thing has materialized? Well, now when the dream is now a reality, of course he should
Mm.
carry them along, and he did. That's a great leadership lesson. And you don't leave people behind on your road to the top, on your journey to
Yes.
top. We see a lot of
Yes.
people when they were building, they have people around them, they have people who are doing things for them, only for them to hit it and to get to that top, and then they drop everybody else.
They start promoting that ideology. I'm not really cool with that. It is lonely at the top ideology. Honestly, I don't really think that's true.
Yes,
And they're responsible
exactly.
for pulling people off themselves.
Yes, it doesn't have to be lonely, because even loneliness kills.
That's very true.
So by the time you are lonely at the top, you're also telling us that you are almost on your way down too.
Yes.
It's just like
It's
that. But it's just like that. So you've got to find a way to make sure that as a leader, you carry other people along. Have people's interest in mind. Create time for yourself. Create time for your family. Very, very important. Very, very much important. So I will say that what Femi Otedola did this week was one of the best leadership performance that we can learn from. And I
mm,
think that's something great to really talk about. So a big shout out to him and his family and for doing that. Uh,
of
it
course.
really inspires
That's
us. It really inspires us. All right. So
$40.
yeah. All right. So now poor leadership performance. In fact, I really struggled on this one because I've been thinking poor leadership
Yeah.
performance for the week. that's really that's really difficult to really say actually. Uh but but let me just say something. I hope our listeners will not be angry at this point, especially
No, they shouldn't.
those
Educational
ones that
program.
are okay. So try those ones that are the Man U fans. I'm coming to attack you, fellow Manchester United fans. I think
One of my
the leadership team of Man U are, should I say, they are one of the poor leadership performers for the week.
week.
And that's just on a lighter note actually. But in the real sense of it, uh, the reason why I'm using that is because I don't want to mention one person. I don't want to uh point at anyone or something like that as a poor leader or something, because we don't really know what could have transpired, what's happened, and all of that. But since
Yes.
Man U is just like a general, it's a club, of course, we don't even know the leadership team, so we can't really say this is one person. And the club is so big, so it's not anybody's responsibility. It's not just about the coach or the players alone, it's about everybody. But I feel like Man U is one of those great teams that we all know. They are once the
Mm,
giants of English Premier League. And what is
yes.
happening presently uh, is something that calls for kind of, when they got Ronaldo back, Cristiano Ronaldo, it was looking more like, we are back, and all of those kind of things. And only to see what is
Yes.
happening back to back, everybody is just beating them and all of that, and things are not really working. So I feel like there are some lessons that we can learn from that too. Uh, from those performances. Of course, we can't deny the fact that the performance has not been really encouraging. I am not a Man
Mm.
U fan actually, so I don't share
Mm.
in those outbreaks.
Okay.
so,
Yeah, immune to it.
sir?
I said they are very much immune to their inconsistency.
So that's it. I'm really immune too. I can talk about it with free mind. so uh so the truth is we can't shy away from the fact that they've not been doing well. If it were to
Yeah.
be maybe West Brom or one of these relegation teams or any other team, we can still say that way. Even on a good day, they are still on average. But it seems like Man U,
Yes. Yes.
where so much is expected from them with a large number of fans and they have track records, and with this kind of performance, definitely, if we say they are performing poorly, we are not exaggerating, and we are
At
not
all,
really.
especially if they are even investing on a
Yes,
daily basis on outrageous
exactly.
amounts
So
of seeing their
yes.
performances.
So yes. So they are one of the leadership, the poor leadership performance for the week. But what lesson can I say we we can learn from that is the fact that we have problem with what used to work. What
Mm.
used to work. I have one of an elderly friend like that who is a Man U fan, and I'm quoting him now. He said, not me, so that those that are listening to this podcast will not feel like I'm anti this person, this player I want to mention now. Maybe I'm anti Ronaldo fan or something.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Ronaldo is one of my players. I love them. I don't do the comparison thing. I pick lessons from both Ronaldo and Messi and I apply them to my
Yeah.
own life because these are great guys.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it will take another decades to see another set of players like the two of them. That's the truth about
Yeah.
it. So
They
comparing
held
them,
down the record for almost 20 years. That is just
yeah,
amazing.
yes. So comparing them, we blend our eyes to their genius. If you really want to
Yes.
get it, you don't have to compare. Look at these guys and see how you can apply their genius, their level of discipline and consistency to your own lives. If
Yeah.
some of us can have even half of their consistency, our lives will be far more better than this in a few years. So that's just
Very
the
true.
truth of it. All right, so back to what that my elderly friend said. He said, and I quote, according to him, he said he's a Man U fan and he loves Ronaldo so much because Ronaldo also he started with them and all of that. But he said that they are better off without Ronaldo than when Ronaldo came. And
Mm.
I don't know why he made that statement, but he said from analysis that it's not as if, and I know him, he's a Ronaldo fan, so and it's even a Man U fan from time immemorial and all of that, like for long. So, but he said
Yeah.
that he observed that the team is far better when Ronaldo was not there than when he came, because when Ronaldo was not there, it seems as if there's not really a superstar, so everybody was fighting for the team. But when Ronaldo
Mm.
came, Ronaldo looks more like a savior who has come back to bring Man U
Yeah.
back to that point. But
Yeah.
Ronaldo coming back is not coming back as the young Ronaldo that you used to know. He's coming out as a 30 something plus old guy. So now
And
he
almost.
doesn't have the strength. So the strength and the agility of those yesteryears are not there in the moment.
Yes.
So, and what lesson can we learn is that sometimes what used to work will not always be working.
Mm.
What used to work will not always be working. A lot of us are so used to a particular thing that has been working in our leadership journey. We have been used to a particular strategy that we used to use.
Yes.
We are used to a particular system of operations. So for years we
Traditions.
believe that thing should still be working. No, a leader is innovative. A
Mm-hmm.
leader knows that what works yesterday may not work today. Don't forget what I said when I started. I said when the era of the three C's, era of overwhelming complexity, accelerating change, and tremendous competition.
Mm.
So things are changing fast. Things are getting more complex. There's so much competition. So the team of Manchester United, they bringing back Ronaldo to Man U shows that definitely whatever it is their strategy was wrong. Because
Mm.
I'm so sure that this was not what they planned.
At all.
This was not what they planned. They had a different plan. They were thinking of something else. They felt like maybe when Ronaldo comes, it will restore back the glory and all of that and blah blah blah. But now they are even far worse than when he was not there. And this is something we can also apply. Sometimes in our businesses, some of us are so used to a particular strategy that used to work. We have to be able
Yeah.
to analyze. You see, sometimes don't become so emotionally attached to the past. Don't become emotionally attached. Don't become so sentimental that you refuse to see what is no longer working. And as leaders, we are always being caught up to believe that things will always remain the same. It doesn't. It doesn't. So we've got to know when to bring in fresh ideas, fresh
Yes.
systems of operations, fresh ways of doing things is very, very much important. So I will now link that to the last point, which is on individuals and brands that are likely to bounce back or remain at top. I
Yeah.
will still use the same analogy I used now about the team,
Yeah.
which was what I said that what used to work will not always be working. So on this one, I will make it generic. I will make it general. I will not be talking on just individuals and brands that will bounce back. I will talk generally on what you can do to bounce back, even if
Oh,
you have been performing poorly. So
okay.
whether you're a business, whether you're an organization, whether you're a personal brand, or whatever it is, if you have been doing poorly, what are the things you can do? I will just share just one thing with us that I believe will be very, very helpful. And that one thing is what I call reinvention.
Mm.
Reinvention. The ability to reinvent yourself part time. You see, to be rigid is disastrous.
Mhm.
Rigidity is an enemy of progress.
Yes, it
When
is.
you are rigid, when you are rigid, a lot of us are rigid, a lot of organizations are rigid, a lot of CEOs are rigid, a lot of leaders are rigid. That's what has led Nigeria to what it is today. It's part of our problem. Rigidity. I'm the
No room
governor,
for
I
any.
can't learn from anybody. I'm the president, I can't hear what anybody is saying. You, this common man, you just masses.
Mm.
What are you saying?
Mm.
Rigidity. This is the way we have been doing it. Oh, it has always
Tradition.
been this party. It has always been this party. So it will forever be this party. Rigidity. It has always been this person. So it is this person. Rigidity. So we've got to know when to reinvent. To reinvent means to recreate again. To recreate again. And let me give us an analogy from from the Bible. And that's the story of David. I
Mm.
realized that, when David started out as a giant that we know him to be, David fought so many
Mm.
battles. But when he started out, he started with sling and stone.
Mm.
So when he was to confront Goliath, he told King Saul, he said, when King Saul said, "You this small boy, Goliath will just waste you." He said, "No, no, no, no. Oh king, you don't understand. You see, when I was alone in the bush, the lion will come, the bear will come. I
Yeah.
used to tear them apart, even with my hands. And some of them that are far away, I used sling and all of that." The king was like, "Really? You?" I said, "Okay, go and fight Goliath. But you can't go this way. Let me give you my hammer." He wore the king's
Mm.
armor. He said, "No, this is not it. I'm not used to this one." So he said, "Let me go with my sling and my stones." For those some of us that knows the story. And we are
Yes.
told that he brought down Goliath with just a slingshot, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that was what announced David. But now this is where the invention comes in. After that time, question. After that fight with Goliath, now question. How many times did David fought with sling and stone again?
There was no record of that. Every that time
But
was with spear.
yes, thank you, sir. But you know that what a lot of leaders, what a lot of CEOs, what a lot of us are doing, even in our own personal life, we have been fighting with the same sling and stone. And that's why we have been losing battles.
Mm.
The fact that a sling and stone brought Goliath does not mean that it will always bring down every giant.
Mm.
So you've got to reinvent. So what did David do? David learned how to use the sword. He learns how to use the spear. He learns how to fight. He learns how to engage in sophisticated battle, sophisticated armor, sophisticated. We get the point now. So if you want to remain atop, if you want to bounce back in your business, in your organizations, you've got to be able to reinvent. Know that what works in the past may not always be working. So even though David brought down Goliath with sling and stone, he didn't use that strategy all through his life. He learned how to use the sword. Because if you will win more complex battles, you have to learn more complex strategy.
Yes. That is very true.
The higher you go, the more necessity is placed on you, the more responsibility you have. The more level of skills you have to garner, you have to attain, you have to learn. So sitting down with what used to work, we get us grounded. We get us grounded. So David could have killed Goliath. Yes, he killed Goliath with the stone, but he reinvented himself. And he learned how to use the sword to win more battles. And that's the way life is. Overwhelming change, overwhelming complexity, accelerating change, and tremendous competition. That's how you win in an era like this. Is to reinvent yourself part time. Is to reinvent yourself part time. Is to reinvent yourself part time. As a leader, as a person, as a brand, as an organization, reinvent. Things are changing. So don't do as if you are not aware. Don't do as if you are not aware. Remember the story of Nokia. Nokia was still forming, we are the strongest. We are the strongest. Smartphones were coming. They are still saying, no, we have customers. People like us. Nokia. Until the whole market was, before they know it, they were out of the market. And they couldn't recover again. Why? Because they were so rigid. They were used to their sling and stone. The sling and stone for Nokia then was like strong. Nokia is strong, the gun. Nokia is strong. And they are banking on that one, that we are strong, we are this. Although all these smartphones may fall down and crash, but people still like them. Why? Because they can do more complex functions compared to Nokia. But Nokia is still staying with I am strong. I am strong. So it's very important for us. See, we have to know as leaders when things begins to shift. We've got to know at that point where we also need to make that shift in our leadership journey. We've got to know at that point where we also need to make that move, where we also need to make that transition. It's very much important. When COVID-19 struck, a lot of organizations started to move online. They started to do operations. Businesses started operating online. We heard that Zoom, in fact, Zoom earned far more than Zoom have been in existence before COVID-19. Exactly. But it became much more pronounced when COVID-19 came. But they've been in existence before then. Yeah. So organizations started shifting their operations. Some who could not adjust, they lost their businesses then.
Yes, they did.
So now, there's something, personally, me, I used to say that I'm not techie. I remember then. I tell you, I'm not techie. But nobody taught me when I saw the trends of things changing. I said, no, I have to learn this thing. Now I can't even count how many things I do with my phone. I've got to learn them. I started learning so many things. And that was what has kept me relevant. Doing so many things, learn this one. On a good day, that's not me. That's the truth of it. I wouldn't have even, I am used to, I'm used to my, how would I put it? I don't want to say old style, but all this,
analog.
Yes, analog. Thank you. Analog way of living. When you want to read a book, it must be printed. It's not all this PDF. No, we don't do that one. It's printed.
Hard copy.
Hard copy. You want to invite me for speaking engagement, it has to be physical. Let's see people. Let's see who we are talking to. All of that. But when things started shifting, I said, guy, you've got to move. Things have shifted. Now I'm holding a podcast. Now, it doesn't reduce the effectiveness of my speech. But I'm not saying you. And I'm not saying those I'm even talking to. But the truth is, for anyone who is listening to this podcast, you still be feeling the energy as if we are together.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's just the way things have shifted, things have moved. So now I'm not even used to the physical thing again. Now, if the location is not really favorable for me, I will recommend, see, let's just do this thing online.
Exactly.
But things have moved, things have shifted. I have tons of ebooks on my phone. Even my own books are more of ebooks
Mm.
because things have shifted. Things have shifted. So my encouragements, dear David, to every David that is listening, stone and sling could have brought you this far, but it won't take you
Mm.
more further.
Mm.
To every David that is listening, from tonight, learn to reinvent yourself. Learn to use the sword.
Mm.
Learn more sophisticated skills. Learn how to fight
Mm.
more sophisticated battles. Because it is when you have these more sophisticated skills that you'll be able to conquer more lands. With sling, you can
Yes.
only kill one Goliath. But with sophisticated leadership, with sophisticated skills and knowledge, you can conquer more territories. David used to fight alone, but we got to know that David now have strong men. They are strong men of David. They call them strong men of David. These are people that
Yeah.
fight with David when he's going for war. Because he understands that I can only kill one Goliath. How many people can I kill? But with other sophisticated people around me, we can conquer more territories. And remember, these people are not also using sling, they are using sword too.
Yes. Yes.
Reinvention.
Mm.
Reinvention. So I believe this podcast has been of a great help. It has been of a great enlightenment. It has been very educative, inspiring, and I believe we've learned one or two things. So on this note, I'll be drawing curtain to my discussion. I'll be calling it a wrap here. I believe we've learned so much. So thank you so much once again, Mr. Samuel Abraham. It's a blessing. It's such a joy, and it's a privilege to be on your platform. To everyone that is hearing me too, thank you so much for following through. Let me call it a wrap at this point. So thank you so much for having me, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Mr. Shola Adekunle. This, indeed, I'll consider this is a C-suite masterclass, honestly speaking. This is amazing, amazing. From the very moment you started till now, like the passion was just burning, the fire burning, the wisdom, the nuggets, the knowledge. In fact, it came with fire, and I'm so excited that we were able to make this happen. To God alone be all the glory. The first
Yeah,
episode of leadership is just so powerful. I
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
can't wait to start getting, honest feedback from those who have paid attention to listening tonight.
yeah,
And honestly,
yeah.
thank you so much. I'm very grateful myself and the staff and management at Samuel Abraham Global Leadership Consultancy. We are so grateful for
You're
spending tonight with us. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Thank
And
you so much.
of course, because before we call it a day, I think we still have time for adverts, like the commercials. So I'm certain you have product services and of course, if not masterclass that are up and available from your end. They like to talk about so those who are listening can find ways to get in contact and be blessed by the works that you do. If you don't
All
mind, you can
right.
go ahead and share them.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sam, for the privilege to do this. All right. So, like it was read on my bio, I have three ebooks. One of it is free, and the first one I wrote was Financial Nugget. Financial Nugget is on Seller. Uh, Once you Google it, you will see it on Seller, but I can also send you the link where you can make the direct purchase. Then, three keys to discover your live stream is also on Seller. I guess that one is free. Yeah, I think that's free. And then I have another one, my latest one, Seven Pillars of Personal Development. That's a very powerful book. I will encourage every one of us who is really serious about personal development to get that book. What I did in that book was to talk on areas of personal development, because personal development is not just about books. Because when we say personal
Mm.
development, the first thing people are thinking is, me, I'm not the reading type. No, it's more than books. It's not just books. I know people who are well read, who read books, but yet there's nothing moving in their lives. That's the truth
Mm.
about it. And that's because personal development is just beyond assimilating information and getting of these things. There are ways to appropriate it, there are ways to go about it. So these are the things I shared in the book. And I discovered that your person, the development of your person is what we call personal development. That's just the simple definition of it. The development of your whole person. So there are 7 parts of your person that needs development. So that was what I've shared in that book. The 7 parts, I call them 7 pillars of your lives that
Oh.
needs those developments. So reading
Mm.
books is just one of all of those pillars. That's the mental development. So reading books, getting information is just one of them. There are still other areas. So I believe the book will be of help. The financial nugget was what I did. There was a time I did something on Twitter. Let's talk finance with essay. That was the
Mm.
hashtag. Let's talk finance with essay. That was what I was doing there, and I did it consistently for 1 year. During the period of COVID-19, there was so much talk about it on Twitter. Some of my friends were like, "Ah, Shola, this thing is really helpful." I got testimony. In fact, there was one brother who saw me. He said he has made up his mind that the first time he sees me, he's going to send me money.
Mm.
And that was what he did. As we met that
Wow.
day, he said, before anything, please give me your account number. This is a true story I'm telling us. I gave him my account
Wow.
number. He sent me some money there. And he said the reason why he sent me that money is because he read my book on financial knowledge. That book changed his finances. I
Mm.
said, wow, that was the very first time when they say that book really have impact on people. And I've always been hearing it, but I really experienced it really. Because it really,
Mm.
for someone, it's another thing when somebody gives you compliments. Then it's another level of
Yeah.
impact when somebody can part away with their money just to
Yeah.
appreciate you for what you have done. So you know that no, the impact must have really been a strong one. So the financial nugget is a compendium. I try to bring together all of those tweets. So it was like in the Twitter page. It's very colorful. It's a very colorful book. So I made it more like a tweet. So each page looks like a Twitter handle like that. So for everything I've shared. So I shared those nuggets and then I included some practical steps that you can take. So once you read a nugget, there's a practical step you can take for each nugget like that. And I
Mm.
think we have up to 50 something of them there. So it's a very powerful book that you can get. Then I have this video course on time management. I discovered that one major thing people are struggling with is time. When you want to do anything serious with your life, one of the things you have to deal with is how do you manage your 24 hours? How do you manage your time? Once you realize that all these big people we talk about have the same number of time that you also have, but how are they able
Mm.
to manage their time? How are they able to combine so many things within the space of 24 hours? These are the things that I shared in the time management strategy video course. It's available too. So all of that can be gotten. So to have access to them, like I said, it's on seller. But if you feel you want to have more direct contact with me, we can take down this WhatsApp number. Just send me a DM on my WhatsApp. I will send you the link on how you can access all of these materials. They are not expensive. I think the highest of them is around 2K or something. Yes, it's 2K. So it's not that's the most expensive one. So it's something very affordable. So my
So it's
WhatsApp
2K
number,
naira. Let's be specific.
sir.
So you just being specific, 2K naira, that's 2,000 naira. So
Oh yes,
2K,
2000.
so make
Okay,
denomination for
dollars. All right. It's in naira. It's in naira, but we accept dollars too. Don't worry, we are coming there. We accept dollars too. If you want to give us dollars, it's okay. But it's 2,000 naira actually. It's 2,000 naira. All right. So my WhatsApp number. Can I say that, Abby, for those that may want to send me a DM?
Of course, please
All
go
right.
ahead.
So it's 08136179428. 08136179428. So that's my WhatsApp number. Once you send me a DM, just tell me what you want to do. I will send you the link. Just ask for the link for the books and all of that. I will send you the seller link and then you can get a copy of the book, or you make a transfer. You can also do that too. I will once you chat me, we'll talk more about that. I will get you the details of where to transfer to and how you will get the book. So thank you so much. Other programs that we have, once you connect on WhatsApp, you have access to many of my other materials and other things, trainings. For now, I don't really have any training upcoming, but from next year, there will be a lot of trainings like that. So access to my WhatsApp will give you updates. Once you have access to my WhatsApp like that, I save your contact, you see my WhatsApp status, you get updates on when any of our trainings are coming. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shola. Thank you so much. Honestly, I have been impacted by your decision, to focus your class tonight on personal development. This is things people actually shy away from. When you start demanding responsibilities from individuals, they want to run away. Even in church, people don't want to hear about the righteousness message. They want to hear
Yeah.
about prosperity. When you take away responsibility from them and give that uh, that idea that they should be open to receive without doing something themselves. So
Yeah.
honestly, I appreciate what you did tonight, and I'm very, very grateful. It was not in any way a mistake for us to reach out to you to be our first speaker on this podcast. And honestly speaking, you did an excellent job, and will forever be grateful for this. Thank you so, so much. And yes, everybody listening, uh, Mr. Shola just gave out information regarding that you can get to him, give out his WhatsApp number. If you didn't get that, you can go back and just replay and get in contact, reach out, have access to his books. At least what you heard tonight is just is a microcosm of what you get when you reach out in person. Get his books, be part and parcel of whatever and everything that he does. Mr. Shola has been doing this for so long, and he just shared testimony here of how someone just followed online. This is not There was no physical meetup, not until they met physically before the person starts sharing testimonies, and this is just one of the multiples. So I encourage you all to go ahead and reach out to Mr. Shola via his phone number, and of course, play this very podcast over and over and over again until it sticks, because the quality of this content is superb. So, meanwhile, before I go ahead and talk about any other ads for or marketing or commercials for tonight, I would like us to understand that Samuel Brand People Leadership Consultancy is a brand that is designed to provide innovative and disruptive leadership solutions for economies. And because of that, we run three different podcast, of which money leadership is one of them. Then we have the money market, which is basically and solely based on investments. And of course, the money business, formerly known as the borderless business now we had to change the name because it was becoming stressful for most people who are, I wouldn't want to say mentally lazy, but they kind of feel like it is too long. Before you pronounce borderless business, before you finish pronouncing it, you're already tired. So we have to find a way to make it easier for them to pronounce. And so money business works. So money business is focused on discussion on structures and marketing. And we hold money business podcast every Friday. Then of course money leadership on Wednesdays, and on Mondays money markets. So looking forward to connecting with you all again in these other three podcasts. They are very essential to building a very solid life. And a shout out to Z Nature Brand. They are organizing their Black Soap Festival in the following week. Of course, I'll try and get their link and share. But aside that, at the Samuel Brown GLC brand, we also offer 5 critical services. One of them being international passport processing. We believe in borderlessness. Okay, so as a believer, believe that the good Lord created us and said, dominate the earth. He didn't say dominate Nigeria. In fact, there was no point in time he mentioned about you sticking down to just one nation and not find a way to expand and dominate. You need to move across these man-made lines that were drawn to divide nations. And the one of the best documents to make that happen is having access to an international passport. So we offer that service for those that want it. And of course, business plan writing. Every business needs a plan to succeed. You cannot start a business on just main thinking. If you don't have a laid down blueprint, you have nothing to fall back to. So it is when business are not experiencing success, they quickly go out to their blueprints and see what they are doing wrong. And when they see it, they immediately correct themselves, and of course they see themselves flying again. So we offer the service of writing business plan for existing business and those that are planning to kickstart. Then, of course, businesses that are not registered with the government are actually legal businesses, and that's what we come in providing registration for businesses, uh, uh, registering them with the Corporate Affairs Commission. So this is one of our services too. Then, of course, talking about international passport initially for those that want to travel for study, for business, for work, and all. We offer travel plans, processing of these travel plans, offer the services to. Then majorly we are into professional trainings and general business consultancy services for any and every businesses. We bring in leadership, we bring in investment, and we bring in solid business plans and ideas. So basically, this is our own commercials for the night, and of course, it is time for us to call it tonight. But meanwhile, I wouldn't want to do that without, giving a shout out to Mr. Shola Adekunle once again. And honestly, sir, it is a blessing to have you here, sincerely speaking. Before I started this very much podcast, I asked God, please lead me to get a very, very, sound speaker for this first episode. And your name popped up. And I'm very glad you accepted the invitation. Thank you so much once again. This is me showing gratitude. I'm grateful for your delivery tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So I would have loved to ask questions, and somehow I feel you have answered. I've done so much, and of course our time quite been fast spent. And so just leave the conversation on shout outs, and I think that's all. So there is a Premier League match going on tonight. I hope Manchester United will not disappoint, since we have used them as I don't know is that. And for Elon Musk doing what he has to do as a businessman, let's hope his decisions for the week also bring good tidings to the brand he has bought. Even as at that, despite the whole things going on Twitter Incorporated, they have experienced the highest number of users since he bought it. Life can be very ironic at times. When people are complaining, that's when people are coming. So people are never registering to be a member of this particular Twitter social network just to follow up how the brand will crash. You can imagine people's mentality. It doesn't even make any sense. You are telling me that you never had a Twitter account, but because this man bought it, you want to come and see how it will crash. That's why you registered an account with them. Man, it is well. It is well. Thank you once again, Mr. Thank you so much. So my regards to everyone at home, and of course, to have a good night, and to everyone listening, thank you. Let's do this again next week, Wednesday. Until then.
All right. So please I don't know, how do we get feedbacks? I love feedbacks a lot, and is there a process of feedbacks? I would love to receive feedbacks on what and how it has blessed them, how this podcast has impacted them and all of that. So it should be maybe just like a reminder so that you can know that we'll be expecting feedback.
The feedback is quite automated, judging from the fact that we have this podcast uploaded on our YouTube channel. So there's always the comment section. And of course, even our streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, and even Anchor. So listeners, wherever you're listening from, just go ahead and drop your feedback. If you can't drop it there, you can come to our Facebook page too. We will have some snippets over there. Drop your feedbacks there. Or if that is just too much for you, you already got the number of Mr. Shola, go to his inbox and drop your feedback. I remember when we hosted BBT, not MB, people were listening directly, and one of the speakers came to me and said, I've been receiving feedback. Like, he dropped his phone number. I can still recall that very moment. And that was how he got some feedbacks. I'm very certain people will do that tonight too. So looking forward to that. Mr. Shola is very, very interested in feedbacks, and that is one of the quality of leaders. They want to measure their performance and using every feedback to enhance whatever they will do next time when they go out. Thank you once again, Mr. Shola, for that. So for everyone listening, please ensure you drop every feedback. Thank you so much, sir. So I think we'll be calling it night now.
All right.
It's been an interesting and sweet night. Thank you once again.
All right. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
See you next time, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. All right. Yeah.